The great hall of the Galactic Council was filled with worried voices. Ambassador Kethvar from the Zephyrian Empire stood at the center podium, his blue skin gleaming under the bright lights. Around him, representatives from dozens of alien species whispered among themselves. The topic of today's meeting was one that had troubled the galaxy for 300 years. Fellow council members, Kethvar began, his voice carrying across the massive chamber. We can no longer ignore the elephant in the room. The human sector remains completely closed to all of us. No one has seen a human in 3 centuries. No ship that enters their space ever comes back. Murmurs rippled through the audience. Some species remembered the humans from long ago. Others had only heard stories. The humans had arrived on the galactic stage suddenly in the year 2387. They had been friendly enough at first, eager to trade and learn about other civilizations. But something had changed quickly. Counselor Veltara of the crystalline hegemony raised her glowing hand. She was young for a council member, only 200 years old. Her crystal-like body reflected the light as she spoke. The human territory contains 17 star systems. These systems have rare minerals we desperately need. Our own planets are running low on resources. We cannot simply pretend that space does not exist. Elder Moxtar, an ancient creature with too many eyes, shook his head slowly. Young one, you do not remember the last human we ever saw. Captain Jake Morrison warned us clearly. He said we should stay away from their space for our own good. Those were his exact words. But that was 300 years ago, Veltara replied. Surely whatever threat they feared is long gone. Perhaps the humans are all dead. Perhaps their civilization collapsed. We will never know unless we investigate. The debate continued for hours. Some council members wanted to respect the old warnings. Others argued that the galaxy's needs had changed. Resources were becoming scarce across many worlds. The human sector contained planets that could support billions of new colonists. Finally, Admiral Thexnor of the United Fleet stood up. He was a warrior from the Corvan Empire, scarred from many battles. I volunteer to lead an expedition into human space. We will take representatives from 12 different species. If the humans are still there, we will negotiate. If they are gone, we will claim the territory for the greater good of the galaxy. The vote was close, but it passed. Many elder council members left the chamber shaking their heads. They remembered the old warnings better than the younger generation. They remembered how the humans had seemed different from other species. Not just their technology, but something about the way they thought and acted. Preparations for the expedition took 3 months. Admiral Thexnor assembled the finest ships from across the galaxy. The Zephyrian Empire contributed their fastest scout vessels. The crystalline hegemony provided ships with the most advanced sensors. The Corvan Empire sent their strongest warships just in case. Each ship was equipped with the best technology the galaxy had to offer. Their shields could stop most weapons. Their sensors could detect life signs from incredible distances. Their communication systems could send messages across entire star systems instantly. As the fleet prepared to depart, many crew members felt nervous. Stories about human space had grown over the centuries. Some said the humans had all gone mad and killed each other. Others believed they had transcended into energy beings. A few wild theories suggested they had built massive weapons that would destroy any intruder. The truth was that no one knew what had happened to humanity. They had simply vanished from galactic society one day. Their ambassadors had left. Their trade ships had stopped coming. Their space had become a void that no one dared to enter. Admiral Thexnor stood on the bridge of his flagship as the fleet gathered at the edge of human territory. Through the main view screen, he could see the boundary markers that humans had placed centuries ago. Simple beacons that broadcast the same message over and over. Warning: human space, do not enter. This is for your own protection. Admiral, his communications officer reported. All ships are ready. We have vessels from the Zephyrian Empire, the Crystalline Hegemony, the Corvan Empire, the Silk Republic, the Metal Clans, and 7 other species. Total fleet size 43 ships, Thexnor nodded. It was an impressive force. The combined military might of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations. If the humans were still alive and hostile, this fleet could handle them. If they were gone, the fleet could establish new colonies quickly. Take us across the boundary, Thexnor ordered. The fleet moved forward slowly. Their sensors scanned constantly, looking for any sign of human activity. The first system they entered appeared empty. No ships, no space stations, no signs of life. But something felt wrong. The space seemed too quiet, too empty. "Sir," the sensor operator called out, "I'm getting strange readings. There's something out there, but our sensors can't quite lock onto it." Before Thexnor could respond, alerts began flashing across every screen on the bridge. Ships were appearing out of nowhere. Not dozens of ships, but hundreds. Then thousands. The sensor displays showed so many contacts that the screens could barely process them all. "Impossible," Thexnor whispered. "Where did they come from?" The human ships were unlike anything in the galactic databases. They moved in perfect formation without any visible coordination. Their hulls reflected light in strange ways, making them hard to focus on. Most disturbing of all, they completely surrounded the alien fleet without making a sound. A communication request came through on all frequencies at once. Admiral Thexnor accepted it with shaking hands. The face that appeared on screen was clearly human, but somehow different. The woman's eyes seemed to take in everything at once. When she spoke, her words were calm and measured. "Admiral Thexnor of the Corvan Empire, you are in violation of clearly marked territorial boundaries. 300 years ago, your people were warned to stay away. Why have you chosen to ignore that warning?" The Admiral found his voice after a moment. We came to establish contact. The galaxy needs resources. Your territory has been empty for centuries." The human woman smiled, but it was not a comforting expression. "Empty? Admiral, you are currently surrounded by 3 million human vessels. Does this seem empty to you?" The bridge fell silent. 3 million ships. The entire galactic fleet contained maybe 50,000 vessels total. How was this possible? "I am Commander Lisa Parker of the Earth Defense Fleet," the woman continued. "You and your people are about to learn why we warned your ancestors to stay away from human space. The lesson begins now." Commander Lisa Parker stood on the bridge of the ESS Independence, watching the alien fleet through the main view screen. Around her, the bridge crew worked with movements that seemed almost too fast to follow. Their hands danced across control panels while their eyes processed information streams that would overwhelm most biological beings. "Status report," Lisa commanded, her voice carrying easily across the bridge despite speaking normally. Lieutenant Ben Hayes looked up from his tactical station. His enhanced physiology allowed him to track all 43 alien vessels simultaneously, while calculating optimal response patterns for thousands of different scenarios. "All alien ships are maintaining standard diplomatic formation, Commander. They appear to be using communication protocols from 3 centuries ago. No significant weapon signatures detected." Lisa nodded. The aliens had not changed much since humanity's last contact with galactic civilization. They still use the same basic technologies, the same communication methods, the same military tactics. Meanwhile, humanity had spent 300 years evolving in ways the galaxy could never imagine. "Amy," Lisa called to her communications officer. "What are they transmitting?" Amy Rodriguez turned from her station, her enhanced neural implants allowing her to monitor dozens of alien languages simultaneously. "Standard galactic greeting protocols, Commander. They're requesting permission to establish peaceful contact and discuss territorial boundaries. Admiral Thexnor seems to believe he's dealing with the same humans from centuries ago." The irony was not lost on Lisa. The aliens thought they were encountering a civilization that had remained static for 300 years. They had no idea that humanity had undergone the most radical transformation in galactic history. "Commander," reported Lieutenant Dave Wilson from the science station, "long-range sensors show the alien fleet is equipped with what they consider advanced technology. Their shields, weapons, and engines are approximately 300% more efficient than what they had during last contact." Lisa smiled. 300% improvement over 3 centuries. For most galactic species, that represented remarkable advancement. For humanity, it was barely a rounding error. Human technology had advanced by factors that required new mathematical concepts to express. Dr. Nancy Foster approached Lisa's command chair. As humanity's chief science advisor, she had spent decades studying the gap between human and alien development. "Commander, should we begin with a basic demonstration? Nothing too overwhelming?" "Negative," Lisa replied. "Let them make their intentions clear first. Amy, open a channel to the alien flagship." The main screen flickered and Admiral Thexnor's face appeared. Lisa had studied his species during her preparation for this inevitable encounter. The Corvan Empire was known for their military prowess and direct approach to diplomacy. Thexnor himself was considered one of their finest strategic minds. Greetings, Admiral, Lisa said calmly. I am Commander Lisa Parker of the Earth Defense Fleet. You have entered human space without authorization. Please state your intentions. Thexnor's expression showed confidence mixed with curiosity. Commander Parker, I represent a joint expedition from 12 galactic civilizations. We have come to re-establish contact with humanity and discuss the current territorial situation. Your people have been absent from galactic affairs for 3 centuries. We have been absent by choice, Lisa replied. Our ancestors warned your predecessors to avoid our space for specific reasons. Those reasons remain valid today. With respect, Commander, Thexnor continued, the galaxy has changed significantly since that time. Resources are becoming scarce. Your territory contains systems that could support billions of beings. Surely we can reach some accommodation. Lisa exchanged glances with Dr. Foster. The scientist nodded slightly, indicating it was time for the first revelation. Admiral, you mentioned that your technology has advanced significantly over the past 3 centuries. Would you be willing to demonstrate your most advanced capabilities? Thexnor seemed pleased by the request. Certainly. Sensor officer, activate our deep space scanning array. The alien flagship began transmitting what they considered their most sophisticated sensor sweeps. The beams reached out across several light years, mapping space with precision that had taken the Corvan Empire decades to develop. On the Independence, Lieutenant Hayes barely looked up from his station. Commander, they're using basic electromagnetic resonance scanning. Their resolution is approximately 1 million times less precise than our standard navigation sensors. Amy, open a ship-wide channel, Lisa ordered. Throughout the Independence and across the 3 million human vessels surrounding the alien fleet, crew members paused in their duties to listen. Attention all hands, Lisa announced. Our guests have just demonstrated their most advanced sensor technology. I want you to observe their capabilities carefully, as this represents the current peak of galactic civilization development. She turned back to Admiral Thexnor. Thank you for that demonstration, Admiral. Now, with your permission, we would like to show you how human sensor technology has developed. Without waiting for a response, Lisa nodded to Hayes. The lieutenant touched a single control on his panel. Instantly, every piece of electronic equipment on every alien ship began displaying detailed technical specifications. Not just basic information, but complete engineering diagrams, power consumption rates, crew biological data, and maintenance histories. Admiral Thexnor stared at his screens in shock. How is this possible? Our systems are completely isolated. Nothing should be able to access them remotely. Admiral, Lisa explained patiently, what you consider isolated, we consider transparent. Your quantum encryption, which I believe represents your highest level of data security, is something our children learn to decode as a basic exercise. Dr. Foster stepped forward to address the alien commander directly. Admiral, 300 years ago, humanity made a disturbing discovery. We learned that our species possesses an unprecedented capacity for rapid advancement. While your civilizations have improved by factors of 2 or 3 over 3 centuries, humanity has improved by factors that exceed your mathematical notation systems. The bridge of the Independence began to shift around them. Walls became transparent, revealing the incredible complexity of human technology. Systems operated at speeds that made them appear as streams of light. Crew members moved through the ship in ways that seemed to defy physics, their enhanced bodies allowing them to navigate 3-dimensional spaces impossible for normal beings. This is just one ship, Admiral, Lisa continued. One ship out of 3 million currently in this immediate area. Each vessel represents technological capabilities that exceed anything in your combined fleet, by margins you cannot comprehend. Amy Rodriguez looked up from her communications station. Commander, we're receiving priority transmissions from the alien fleet. Multiple species are requesting immediate withdrawal to their home territories. Tell them they are free to leave, Lisa replied. But remind them that they crossed into our space seeking resources and negotiation. We will provide both, but not in the manner they expected. Admiral Thexnor's voice came through the speakers, strained and uncertain. Commander Parker, what do you want from us? Lisa's expression became serious. We want nothing from you, Admiral. 300 years ago, we discovered that our continued presence in galactic society would inevitably lead to the extinction of every other species. Not through malice, but through the simple reality of exponential advancement. We chose isolation to protect you. But now you have come to us, Dr. Foster added. and we must decide whether the galaxy is ready to learn the truth about what humanity has become. The alien fleet hung motionless in space, surrounded by human vessels that continued to appear and disappear in patterns that defied understanding. Admiral Thexnor realized that his grand expedition to explore empty human space had instead discovered a civilization so advanced that his entire frame of reference had become obsolete. The question now, Lisa concluded, is whether you wish to continue this contact, knowing that everything you believed about the balance of power in the galaxy is about to change forever. Admiral Thexnor sat in his command chair, trying to process what he had witnessed. His tactical officers reported impossible readings from their sensors. The human ships seemed to exist in multiple locations at once. Their energy signatures defied every known law of physics. Most disturbing of all, they appeared to be analyzing his fleet down to the molecular level. "Sir," his communications officer reported with a shaking voice, "the humans are requesting permission to come aboard our ship." Thexnor's military training told him to refuse. His survival instincts told him to run, but his duty to the Galactic Council demanded that he learn as much as possible about these transformed humans. "Grant permission, but maintain full security protocols." 3 figures materialized on his bridge without using any visible transportation technology. They simply appeared as if the laws of physics had temporarily suspended themselves. Admiral Thexnor recognized Commander Lisa Parker from their earlier communication. The other 2 humans introduced themselves as Dr. Nancy Foster and Captain Steve Coleman. "Thank you for allowing us aboard, Admiral," Lisa said politely. "We thought it would be easier to explain our situation in person." Thexnor noticed that all 3 humans moved with an unnatural grace. They breathed normally, but their eyes tracked everything on the bridge simultaneously. When Dr. Foster reached out to examine one of his control panels, her hand moved faster than his visual system could follow. "Fascinating," Dr. Foster murmured, studying the alien technology. "You've maintained the same basic design principles for centuries. Efficient, reliable, but ultimately limited by your understanding of quantum mechanics." Captain Coleman walked to the tactical station where Thexnor's weapons officer sat frozen in fear. "May I?" he asked politely, then began operating the alien controls without waiting for permission. The weapon systems responded to his touch as if he had designed them himself. "Your plasma cannons are well crafted," Coleman observed. "The energy conversion rate is actually quite impressive for technology based on electromagnetic principles. Of course, you're still thinking in terms of matter and energy as separate concepts." Lisa stepped forward to address Admiral Thexnor directly. "Admiral, we need to explain why humanity chose isolation 3 centuries ago. Dr. Foster, would you share the historical records?" Dr. Foster touched a device on her wrist, and suddenly the bridge was filled with holographic displays showing star charts, battle formations, and casualty reports. "These are records from the last conflicts between human and alien forces," she explained. 3 minor incidents that occurred shortly after first contact. The holographic display showed a space battle near the Andromedan cluster. Human ships, primitive by current standards, engaged a fleet from the hegemony of scales. The battle lasted 18 minutes. When it ended, the entire hegemony fleet was destroyed, along with their home planet and 3 colony worlds. "We tried to disable their ships," Lisa explained quietly. "We used what we considered minimum force. We didn't realize that our warning shots contained enough energy to destabilize their planetary core." The second incident showed human vessels responding to what they believed was a pirate attack. The attacking ships belonged to the Nebula Confederation. The human response eliminated not just the attacking fleet, but every Confederation vessel within 50 light-years. The species went extinct in a single day. "We were defending ourselves," Captain Coleman added. "We had no idea that our standard defensive protocols would be so devastating to your technologies." The third incident was the most sobering. A human exploration ship had encountered a massive alien fleet conducting military exercises. The human captain, trying to be helpful, had offered to demonstrate advanced navigation techniques. The demonstration accidentally created a gravity well that collapsed 4 star systems and killed billions of beings. Admiral Thexnor stared at the records in horror. "These were accidents?" "Every single one," Dr. Foster confirmed. "We realized that our technology had advanced to the point where our mere presence was lethal to other species. We couldn't engage in normal diplomacy because our casual actions could cause mass extinction events." Lisa gestured. and the holographic displays changed to show human development over the past 3 centuries. The progression was staggering. Each decade showed exponential improvements in every field of human knowledge. Technology, biology, physics, consciousness itself had been enhanced beyond recognition. "We didn't just improve our machines," Lisa explained. "We improved ourselves. Enhanced reflexes, expanded memory, accelerated processing speed. We can think faster, react quicker, and understand concepts that would take your brightest scientists centuries to grasp." Dr. Foster approached one of the alien crew members, a young Zephyrian named Kextar. "May I demonstrate?" she asked gently. When he nodded nervously, she placed her hand on his forehead. Instantly, his eyes widened in shock. "I just downloaded the complete works of your greatest philosophers, analyzed them, identified 47 logical inconsistencies, and developed solutions to each problem," Dr. Foster explained. "The entire process took 0.3 seconds. This is normal thinking speed for a human child." Captain Coleman walked to the engineering station and began examining the ship's power systems. "Admiral, your fusion reactors are quite sophisticated. They produce enough energy to power a small city. Would you like to see how we generate power?" Without waiting for an answer, Coleman removed a device no larger than his thumb from his belt. He touched it to the ship's power grid, and instantly every energy reading on the bridge increased by orders of magnitude. "This personal power cell contains more energy than your entire ship," Coleman explained casually. "We use them to power individual suits of armor. A human soldier carries more destructive capability than your largest warship." The bridge fell silent, except for the humming of overwhelmed electrical systems. Admiral Thexnor realized that his expedition had not discovered a lost human civilization. They had stumbled into the territory of beings who had transcended every limitation his species could imagine. "But why?" he finally asked. "Why advance so far? Why not stop at some reasonable level of development?" Lisa smiled sadly. "Because we cannot stop, Admiral. Human nature drives us to constantly improve, to push beyond every boundary to solve every problem. We tried to slow our advancement, but it's fundamental to who we are as a species. The question," Dr. Foster added, "is what happens now. You came here seeking resources and territory. We can provide both, but not in the way you expected. We could terraform dead worlds in days, synthesize any material you need from base elements, or simply give you technology that would solve your resource problems forever. But," Captain Coleman continued, "accepting our help would mean acknowledging that humanity has become something beyond your understanding. It would mean restructuring your entire concept of galactic civilization around the reality that one species has essentially transcended physical limitations, Admiral." Thexnor looked around his bridge at his crew members, all of whom stared at the humans with expressions of terror and awe. He thought about the Galactic Council, the member species who had sent him on this mission expecting to find empty worlds or primitive humans. "What do you recommend?" he asked finally. Lisa exchanged glances with her companions. "We recommend that you return to the Galactic Council and tell them the truth. Humanity is not gone. We have not declined. We have become something that your civilizations are not prepared to coexist with safely. And if the Council decides to challenge your claims?" Thexnor asked. The 3 humans looked at each other and smiled. It was not a threatening expression, but somehow it was the most terrifying thing the Admiral had ever seen. "Then," Lisa replied gently, "we will provide a more comprehensive demonstration of what we have become." Commander Zekthul of the warrior caste had heard enough. As the leader of the military vessels in the expedition, he had watched the humans demonstrate their supposed superiority with growing anger. His species, the Corvin Empire, had never backed down from a fight. They would not start now. "Admiral Thexnor," Zekthul's voice crackled over the communication system. "These humans are trying to intimidate us with tricks and illusions. I request permission to test their actual combat capabilities." Admiral Thexnor, still on the bridge of his flagship with the 3 human visitors, looked uncomfortable. "Commander, I don't think that would be wise." "With respect, sir," Zekthul replied, "we came here representing 12 species. We cannot return home having been frightened away by elaborate special effects and tall stories. If these humans are truly as powerful as they claim, let them prove it in honest combat." Captain Steve Coleman smiled and looked at Lisa Parker. "Commander, It seems some of our guests require a more direct demonstration. Lisa nodded thoughtfully. Very well. Captain Coleman, please select one of our patrol squadrons to respond to their challenge. Standard engagement protocols. Defensive posture only. Admiral Thexnor felt his heart sink. Commander Parker, surely we can resolve this without violence. There will be no violence, Admiral, Dr. Nancy Foster assured him. Your military commander has requested a test of capabilities. We will provide exactly that. On his command ship, Zekthul began organizing his attack force. He had 8 heavy cruisers, 12 destroyers, and 24 fighter squadrons at his disposal. Each vessel was equipped with the finest weapons the galaxy had to offer. Plasma cannons that could crack planets, missile systems that could track targets across light years, and shields that had never failed in battle. All ships, this is Commander Zekthul, he announced to his fleet. We will engage the human vessels in standard combat formation. Target their obvious command ships first. Show these upstart humans what real military power looks like. The human response was immediate but puzzling. Instead of the massive fleet that had surrounded them earlier, only 4 human ships moved to intercept Zekthul's attack force. 4 ships against 44 of the galaxy's finest warships. Captain Paul Sanders commanded the lead human vessel, the ESS Guardian. He opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. Commander Zekthul, you have initiated hostile action against human vessels. We will respond with appropriate defensive measures. Please reconsider your course of action. Zekthul laughed, a harsh sound that carried over the communication system. 4 ships against my entire fleet? Human, you will learn why the Corvin Empire has never lost a battle. Beginning defensive engagement, Captain Sanders announced calmly. All human vessels implement Protocol 7. Defensive parameters only. Disable, do not destroy. What happened next would be recorded as the shortest military engagement in galactic history. It lasted exactly 4 minutes and 17 seconds. The human ships began moving in ways that defied every known law of physics. They seemed to exist in multiple locations simultaneously, appearing and disappearing in patterns that confused every targeting system in the alien fleet. When Zekthul's ships fired their weapons, the energy beams passed through empty space where human vessels had been a microsecond before. Lieutenant Commander Maria Johnson, on the human ship ESS Defender, coordinated the defensive grid with enhanced reflexes that allowed her to process hundreds of attacks simultaneously. Her fingers danced across control panels at speeds that created afterimages, while her enhanced mind calculated optimal responses to every incoming threat. Contact, reported Captain Alex Turner from the ESS Phantom. His ship demonstrated the ability to phase in and out of normal space, confusing alien sensors completely. Enemy vessels are using standard targeting protocols, adjusting defensive patterns to account for their reaction times. The alien weapons fired continuously, filling space with enough destructive energy to sterilize entire worlds. None of it touched the human ships. The human vessels moved through the weapons fire like dancers, their paths seemingly random but actually following mathematical patterns too complex for alien computers to predict. Impossible, Zekthul muttered, watching his tactical displays show hit after hit that somehow never connected with their targets. How are they doing this? His answer came when the human ships began their response. They didn't fire massive weapons or deploy devastating missiles. Instead, they simply touched each alien vessel with beams of energy so precise that they targeted individual components. Captain Sanders's ship reached out with what appeared to be a simple scanning beam. It touched Zekthul's flagship for exactly 0.03 seconds. Every weapon on the ship immediately stopped functioning. Not destroyed, not damaged, simply turned off. The targeting systems remained active. The shields continued operating. The life support functioned normally. Only the weapons were disabled. Across the alien fleet, the same thing happened to every ship. Human vessels moved through their formation like surgeons, applying precise touches that disabled weapons without harming anything else. In 4 minutes, the entire alien attack force was rendered completely helpless without suffering a single casualty. How? Zekthul demanded over the communication system. How did you disable our weapons without destroying them? Captain Sanders appeared on the main screen of every alien ship simultaneously. Commander, your weapons systems operate on electromagnetic principles. We simply convinced the electrons in your firing circuits to stop moving. No damage, no destruction, just a temporary rearrangement of basic physics. On Admiral Thexnor's flagship, Dr. Foster was explaining the demonstration to the shocked alien command staff. "What you witnessed was not our military technology," she said gently. "Those were civilian patrol vessels using equipment designed for law enforcement. Our actual warships possess capabilities that we cannot safely demonstrate in the presence of inhabited star systems." Lisa Parker added, "Commander Zekthul requested a test of our combat abilities. We responded with 4 ships using the minimal force necessary to neutralize his threat. If we had engaged with our full military capability, this entire region of space would have been sterilized down to the quantum level." Captain Coleman brought up holographic displays showing human military development. "Our current weapons technology operates on principles that your physics cannot explain. We can manipulate matter at the subatomic level, alter the flow of time around our targets, and project force across dimensions that don't exist in your mathematics." Admiral Thexnor stared at the data in growing horror. The humans weren't just more advanced than galactic civilization. They had become something that existed beyond the normal rules of reality. "What are you?" he whispered. "We are what humanity became when we stopped limiting ourselves," Lisa replied. 300 years ago, we realized that our potential for growth was unlimited. Every boundary we crossed revealed new boundaries to cross. Every problem we solved showed us 10 more problems to tackle. Dr. Foster gestured to the disabled alien fleet hanging helpless in space. "This is why we isolated ourselves, Admiral. Not because we were afraid of you, but because we had become too dangerous to exist alongside other species. Every interaction risked accidental extinction events. Your commander just demonstrated exactly why," Captain Coleman added. "He attacked us with the finest military force your civilizations could assemble. We defended ourselves with the equivalent of a neighborhood watch patrol. The gap between our capabilities is so vast that any conflict would be genocide, not warfare." Commander Zekthul's voice came over the communication system, subdued and shaken. "Admiral Thexnor, I formally request immediate withdrawal from human space. We are not equipped to handle this level of advancement." Lisa looked at Admiral Thexnor with something approaching sympathy. "Admiral, you came here seeking territory and resources. We have shown you why that is impossible. The question now is whether your civilizations can accept the reality that you share the galaxy with a species that has transcended every limitation you understand. And if we cannot accept this reality?" Thexnor asked quietly. The 3 humans exchanged glances. When they looked back at him, their expressions were kind but absolutely implacable. "Then we will need to expand our boundaries to ensure our continued security," Lisa replied. "And that, Admiral, would be unfortunate for everyone involved." The journey back to the Galactic Council took 3 weeks. During that time, Admiral Thexnor struggled to write a report that would convince the galaxy's leaders of what he had witnessed. How could he explain that humanity had become something beyond their understanding? How could he make them believe that the species they remembered from 3 centuries ago had evolved into gods of science and war? The aliens had been allowed to leave human space without interference, but not before receiving one final demonstration. Commander Rachel Davis of the human government had shown them something that shattered their understanding of reality itself. "Before you go," she had said, standing in the main conference room of the Independence, "you should understand the full scope of what we have achieved." With a casual gesture, she had made the walls of the ship disappear, revealing the infinite void of space around them. Then she had reached out with her bare hand and touched a nearby asteroid. The rock, roughly the size of a small moon, had immediately transformed into a perfect sphere of gleaming metal. "Matter manipulation at the quantum level," Dr. Linda Wright had explained, as if discussing the weather. "We can rearrange atomic structures to create anything we need from base elements. Starvation, resource scarcity, environmental damage. These are concepts from our past." Captain Greg Foster had demonstrated the next impossibility. He had looked at a distant star and concentrated for a moment. The star had flickered, dimmed, and then blazed brighter than before. "We can adjust stellar output to optimize energy production," he had said simply. "We treat star systems the way you treat individual machines." But the most shocking revelation had come from Administrator Kevin Price, who had calmly announced that humanity had solved the problem of death itself. "Our current generation of humans will live indefinitely," he had explained. "We have enhanced our consciousness to exist independently of biological limitations. Physical death is now optional, Now, as Admiral Thexnor stood before the assembled Galactic Council, he tried to find words that would convey the magnitude of what they faced. The Great Hall was packed with representatives from hundreds of species, all eager to hear about the mysterious human sector. Fellow council members, Thexnor began, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber. I must report that humanity has not disappeared. They have not declined. They have not died out. Instead, they have become something that defies every assumption we have made about the limits of advancement. Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the audience. Councillor Veltara of the Crystalline Hegemony stood up. Admiral, surely you exaggerate. No species can advance beyond the natural laws of physics. Respected Councillor, Thexnor replied, the humans now manipulate the natural laws of physics the way we manipulate simple tools. They have transcended every limitation we consider absolute. Elder Moxtar raised one of his many hands. Admiral, please provide specific examples of these supposed capabilities. Thexnor activated the holographic display system and began showing the records his fleet had gathered. The images were almost impossible to believe. Human ships existing in multiple locations simultaneously, weapons that disabled enemy vessels by convincing their electrons to stop moving, matter being transformed from one element to another with a touch. This is impossible, declared General Korthax of the War Assembly. These must be sophisticated illusions designed to intimidate us. General, Thexnor replied quietly, Commander Zekthul attacked them with our finest military forces. 44 ships equipped with our most advanced weapons. The humans defeated our entire fleet in 4 minutes using 4 patrol vessels. Not destroyed, disabled. They could have eliminated us completely but chose not to. The chamber fell silent. Commander Zekthul's military reputation was legendary. If he said the humans had defeated him, no one would question his honesty. Councillor Veltara's crystalline form flickered with nervous energy. What do they want from us? What are their demands? That is the most disturbing part, Admiral Thexnor admitted. They want nothing. They have no demands. They have achieved complete self-sufficiency. They can create any resource they need, terraform any world they desire, and defend themselves against any conceivable threat. Then why did they isolate themselves? Asked Elder Moxtar. Thexnor paused before answering, knowing his next words would change galactic politics forever. They isolated themselves to protect us. They realized that their continued advancement made them too dangerous to coexist with other species. Every interaction risked causing accidental extinction events. The implications hit the Council like a physical blow. The humans hadn't retreated out of fear or weakness. They had chosen isolation as an act of mercy. What are our options? General Korthax asked grimly. Thexnor displayed the final message the humans had given him. Commander Rachel Davis appeared on the holographic screen, her words calm and measured. The choice before your galaxy is simple. Accept that this region of space belongs to a species that has evolved beyond your level of understanding. Continue to develop your civilizations in peace under our protection, or force us to expand our boundaries to ensure our security. Protection? Veltara asked. What kind of protection? Dr. Nancy Foster's image appeared next to Rachel's. We monitor the galaxy continuously. When natural disasters threaten inhabited worlds, we intervene. When wars escalate beyond acceptable casualties, we stop them. When species face extinction from disease or environmental collapse, we provide solutions. You have been under our protection for 3 centuries without knowing it. The council chamber erupted in shocked discussions. Species that had survived cosmic disasters, recovered from plagues, or avoided devastating wars suddenly understood that their survival had not been due to luck or their own capabilities. Elder Moxtar spoke for all of them. How many times have you intervened? Administrator Kevin Price's image appeared on the display. In the past century alone, we have prevented 47 extinction events, redirected 36 asteroids that would have destroyed inhabited worlds, provided cures for 19 pandemic diseases, and stopped 12 wars that would have eliminated entire civilizations. Without our knowledge, General Korthax said quietly. We intervened subtly, Price confirmed. We made it appear that your own scientists made the discoveries. Your own diplomats negotiated the peace treaties. Your own engineers developed the solutions. We allowed you to maintain the illusion of independence. The weight of this revelation crushed the council into silence. Their greatest achievements, their proudest moments, their survival itself, had been orchestrated by a species so advanced that they had become invisible guardians. What happens now? Counselor Veltara asked. Admiral Thexnor displayed the final part of the human message. Commander Lisa Parker appeared on screen, her expression serious but not unkind. The galaxy now knows the truth about humanity. You can choose to accept our continued protection and develop your civilizations within the boundaries we have established. Or you can attempt to challenge our authority and force us to take direct control. The humans made it clear, Thexnor added, that they prefer the current arrangement. They want to remain in the background, providing protection without interference. But if we force them to reveal themselves completely, they will need to restructure galactic civilization to prevent chaos. The vote was unanimous. The Galactic Council formally recognized human sovereignty over their declared territory. They accepted continued protection from disasters and conflicts. Most importantly, they agreed to warn all future generations about the reality of humanity's transformation. In the depths of human space, Commander Lisa Parker received confirmation of the Council's decision. Around her, the vast machinery of human civilization continued its relentless advance. New technologies emerged daily. Enhanced humans pushed the boundaries of consciousness and capability. Star systems were modified to optimize energy production. Think they'll honor the agreement? Captain Steve Coleman asked. Lisa smiled. For now. But eventually, some young species will decide to test our boundaries again. Someone will always believe they can challenge the impossible. And when that happens, Dr. Nancy Foster inquired. When that happens, Lisa replied, we'll provide another demonstration, and perhaps expand our protective boundaries a little further. After all, the galaxy is a dangerous place. Someone needs to keep it safe. Outside the Independence, 3 million human vessels continued their eternal patrol of the galaxy's borders. They watched over civilizations that would never fully understand the benevolent gods that protected them from the darkness between the stars. Humanity had kept its promise from 3 centuries ago. They had stayed away from galactic civilization for everyone's own good. But they had never stopped watching, never stopped protecting, and never stopped preparing for the day when the galaxy would need them to step out of the shadows. That day might come sooner than anyone expected. And when it did, the galaxy would learn that sometimes the greatest act of love is the willingness to become monsters to protect those who cannot protect themselves.